Recording.
Welcome to Wolves Weekly. I'm Barrett Henderson, the Director of Media Relations at Western Oregon, now joined by head men's basketball coach Brady Bergeson. Brady, it's October and we're talking basketball.
It's that time of year again.
Now we welcome you back to the studio, and we're going to talk a little season preview here. We got an exhibition game here against Linfield on Friday night. You guys have been out at practice. Talk a little bit about how the practices are going.
Overall, really pleased with the level of practice. From start to finish, we've been, for starters, it's really nice to have some guys back and some experience. I think our culture's as good as it's been and getting better. Our leadership is continually improving. Those things have helped the quality of practice and sort of the consistency of the play so far. But still extremely early. We've got, this early on, you've got a ton of things you got to get better at, like everything. But overall effort, attitude, those things have been really good.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about some of those key returners, starting with a preseason all-conference guy you got, Andy Avgi. It's got to be nice to have him back.
Absolutely, yeah. Andy's continued to grow and develop as a player over the course of the off-season. We've got also a perimeter around him that's now got some experience. A year ago this time we had 0 returning years on the perimeter in terms of experience, and this year is completely different. So Andy likes that because they understand how to throw the ball down inside to him. We've got a good balance, I think, of players both with experience on the interior and the outside. And so far we're just figuring out how to play with each other.
Talk a little about some of those guys that you got coming in the backcourt and some of the guards you have this year.
Well, the backcourt, so, Devon Alexander would be one, Rodney Webster would be two that logged major minutes last year. Jordan Wiley, Jordan Schreiber are wing-type players that played a lot last year and got a good deal of experience. Those 4 guys would sort of be, and then with Drew Johnson, who's been injured here for a couple of weeks, hasn't been able to practice, but we would expect back shortly. There's 5 guys that have a good deal of experience on the perimeter, all coming back. All have done a good job physically with their bodies in the off season. They're conditioned and healthy, with the exception of Drew. And then, from there, it's going to be, us in terms of our ability to spread the floor and attack guys from the perimeter. I think that we'll be able to do a variety of things, run guys off the screens. We've got guys that can really fill it up from the outside, like Jordan Wiley, and guys that can, get in the paint and make plays, like Devon and Rodney. So far it's been pretty competitive in practice. We've pitted guy against guy a lot. And so that makes it fun. It makes everybody better.
You got some newcomers this year, a couple of big boys there on the inside. Talk about some of those newcomers.
So specifically, Lewis Thomas is an Australian kid who transferred in from UC Santa Barbara for us, about 6'8". Versatile kid, really long, very good basketball IQ, inside-outside type player. We expect him to make an impact for us this year. Marwan Sarhan is an Egyptian kid off of their national team who transferred in from a Division II school back in West Virginia last year. And both guys are juniors. Both guys are sort of long, versatile guys who can beat you in a number of ways. And both are adapting really pretty quickly to a new system, new language, and a new way of doing things.
Well, Coach, taking a look at the schedule, number one, you're in the GNAC conference, and that's got to be pretty formidable when you take a look at that schedule every year. Just one of the best conferences in Division II.
There's no question about it. If it's not the best, it's right up there. On paper, it's hard to tell. It seems like probably everybody except for maybe a couple are better than they were last year. It just seems like every year you keep saying that over and over again. Yeah, the level of talent's unbelievable. I think the level of coaching is excellent. So, you know, it really brings out the best in everybody, your players, your staff, and you really have to come in and make sure you're extremely prepared.
Looking at the non-conference schedule, you guys are going to be starting the regular season here in just a couple of weeks in Hawaii, Chaminade and Hawaii Hilo. Two great programs there. What are some highlights on the non-conference schedule?
Well, you know, we scheduled some really historically very tough teams, traditionally very tough teams preseason to really prepare us for our conference play. So 3 of the first 5 games we play will be teams that were in the regional last year, the Western Regional, and actually 4 of the first 8. So we're going to find out where we're at here real quick right off the bat, at least in this early preseason phase. You know, we're on the road for the first 2 weeks, which also, you know, it requires you to grow up quickly as a team. And the advantages are you get to spend a lot of time together, and you're in a hostile, you know, environment, and there's some galvanization that goes on the road within your group that we're trying to get to earlier than later this year. So we're going to challenge ourselves here in this preseason. But, you know, if we stick to what we've been doing on the floor and practice, I think we'll be okay.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck this season and look forward to having you here every week.
Thanks, Barrett.
Again, Friday night right here, 7 o'clock, Linfield College, free admission. Come check out the exhibition game and your first look at Western Oregon this season. And we'll see you next week.